Meow. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Sabs, also known as Sustainable Sabs. I talk about all things zero waste living, minimalism, veganism, all that good fun stuff. Today is cleaning day in my apartment. I figured now would be the perfect time to show you the homemade cleaning products I use. Most of them are simply one ingredient. I do like to make a lot of my own stuff because that way I know it's not made with tons of toxic ingredients. It's a lot less expensive and I have used them a lot, so I know that they work pretty well. I'll show you guys a before and after just so you can see how I'm able to transform the apartment using all natural and non-toxic products. I'll also show you guys a DIY recipe. It's super simple. Nothing here is rocket science. I didn't create any of these recipes. They're just ones that I've seen floating around on the internet. So without further ado, I'll show you guys my apartment transformation. We try to keep it relatively clean as much as possible, but sometimes it just gets messy. Also, having a cat means we have things like cat fur. This will all be removed very soon. I'll also show you how I clean my cast iron skillet, which is quite dirty right now. Alright, so here's my room. As you can see, it is quite, at least in my opinion, quite messy. You can't really see unless you look pretty closely, but there's quite a bit of dust on the floor. Lots of things sort of just lying around my docks. For this DIY homemade cleaner, you're just going to need two ingredients, the first of which are citrus peels. So you can use any lemon peels, orange peels, grapefruit peels that you have left from whatever it is you were cooking or eating. You don't need to go out and buy new peels. And then just put them in a jar. You can actually stick them in the freezer until you have a full jar of these peels. The second ingredient is just some white vinegar. So once your jar is completely full, you can just go ahead and pour white vinegar all the way over the top of all the peels and then leave it for a week. After a week, you can go ahead and strain the peels from the jar, and you'll need to cut the vinegar 1-to-1 with water. Then just put it in any spray bottle that you want to use and just use it as any normal DIY cleaner. Instead of a disposable like Swiffer mop, I'll just use a vacuum to get off the dusty bits from the ground. I have seen like reusable cloth pads that you could use in place of the disposable ones on the Swiffer, so that's worth looking into if you're interested in that. For my kitchen surfaces, I actually use this Swedish cloth, I think is what it's called. I got it from Wasted. I'll link them below, not sponsored at all. I just really like these cloths. They're 100%, I think they're 100% cotton, and they're compostable at the end of their life cycle. So I'm gonna use this to scrub the countertops as well as the underneath the stove where it gets like kind of dirty and gunky. So I will demonstrate how I do all of that. For those spots on my stove that are particularly stained, I actually will just pour some baking soda over the top, and then I will drizzle it with some of the DIY vinegar cleaner, and then using a clean dish brush or like an older dish brush that I'm not using for dishes anymore, I'll just scrub it all away. So when it comes to cast iron skillets, you're not really supposed to use soap. So in order for me to clean stuff that is like a little bit harder to get off, I'll fill the skillet with water, bring the water to a little bit of a boil until it's bubbling. And then once that happens, I'll just use a dish brush and scrub off any food scraps that are at the bottom. Then I'll rinse it all off in the sink, and I will put it back on the stove to remove any excess water. You're not supposed to leave water in your cast iron skillet. That's how it'll rust. So make sure it is dry as a bone. Wooden kitchen products are also a little bit sensitive, so you have to treat them properly. So first, what I did here was I just scrubbed this huge wooden cutting board until I got any food scraps off, and then after I added a little bit of olive oil. I think you can also use coconut oil. You just put a little bit on top and then you rub it into the wood. That way it'll prevent any cracking and it'll keep the wood nice and moisturized and hydrated. Onto the bathroom. So I'm using the baking soda and the vinegar cleaner. I just use that to scrub off any grime that's in the sink, and I'll use it in the bathtub as well. And then for my mirror, I actually just use some of that vinegar cleaner. I have never seen any streaky mirrors from using it. It works really well, and I just use this old rag that I have. And now for everyone's favorite, the toilet! So I use this old dish brush that I obviously don't use for dishes anymore. For this, can you guys guess what I use? That's right, it's baking soda and vinegar. You can go ahead and use that DIY vinegar cleaner that you made. It works really well, and look how shiny and clean. Before anyone decides to comment, I scrubbed that weird stain for like 20 minutes and it still didn't come out, but it's clean. You guys enjoyed this little apartment cleaning transformation. If you have any recommendations for all natural DIY projects or all natural cleaning product businesses, leave them in the comments below. That way we can all share our knowledge and we can continue either making new products at home or supporting sustainable businesses. That's all I have for this week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.